Welcome to Creative DIY with Momdaz and welcome to Vlogtember Episode 2, where I'm going to use old book pages for paper crafts and make beautiful items. So today I'm going to use old book pages and make these old book pages envelopes or old book pages pockets. These are useful as well as very beautiful. I'm going to use the techniques of junk journal or art journal, and I'm going to do it in a very easy way that everybody can do. As I told you before, I found this book that I can't read, so I'm going to use these yellowed out, aged looking pages for the project. But if you don't have such a book which is old looking or stained like this, you can always use some coffee or tea stain and stain your pages. So for my old book pages envelope or old book pages pockets, I'm going to need 4 pages from my novel or book. I need 4 because I'll show you I made a mistake and learned. I used single pages in this one. I used single pages. I was just trying out one piece before I started filming my video, and when I took it to my sewing machine and I stitched the edges, you can see it's not neat. The thread is loose and there is bunching up of it. Might be my mistake. I did not set my sewing machine for a finer thickness, not fabric here, paper, but finer thickness. But when I used 2 pages, it stitched beautifully. It was so much more comfortable stitching it. Now if you don't want to stitch it, if you want a non-sew project, then one can just add some good craft glue on the edges. Even that will work great, and you can give it the look of a stitched one. I'll show you one such example later. So and not just for stitching and gluing, even this has turned out a little flimsy and a weak thing. I cannot put anything which very heavy in this. I would just like to put something like single coupon card or some little cash or a invitation card. Nothing very heavy can be placed in this. Whereas if I take 4 pages, 4 sheets like this, 2 for the back and 2 for the front, this is going to be a really sturdy envelope or pocket. So here I have 4 pages, and I'm going to make sure that the page that has even staining and all text matter is the facing page, not the one which doesn't look good or has chapter name or too many breaks in between. So here this is stained, it's fine, it's aged, but it's giving it a little untidy or dirty look. So I'm going to put it inside, which will not be seen. So here I have a stack of 4 pages. Now I take the first 2 pages, and from the top I'm going to fold, say, about an inch down, score it and tear off this portion. So I have the back set and the front set. This extra one at the back side is going to be the flap which will close the envelope. Next I'm going to take an ordinary glue stick. It's just easier with this, otherwise you can use any glue, and I'm going to glue these 2 pages together. I don't have to be very particular or going to the edges or anything like that. It just has to stay together. It's easier that way, and it's also neater that way. So this becomes one thick sturdy back piece, and this will be the. Now I also stuck together the 2 front pieces, and here I have the front piece and the back piece. Now they can be stacked together like this and stitched. Now the first step would be to stitch the front open side, the one that will be the pocket side. I'm going to stitch along this line and then go ahead, something like this. So I just stitched one piece beforehand. You can see I've just stitched along this line. If you are not going to stitch you're going to do a without stitching project, you just need to glue it really nice till the edges. So that's going to be how you would do if you're not stitching it. So once this is done, now I can place these two together. Make sure it's stacked, maybe clip it. And I have this flap. Now this, if I fold, becomes a pocket. It can be done like that, but I want to give it a more nicer look. So I'm going to fold it lightly like this, bring the corners together, and here is the opening. I'm just going to cut a little slant piece on the side. I just folded it so that it's symmetrical, and I think this looks even better. So now what I'll do is, if you want to put embellishment here and you want to stitch your embellishment onto the front side, then this is the step. After you stitch the open end of the pocket, you can stitch your embellishments here. But I'm today going to just glue my embellishments, so I'll first make my pockets. Say you want to stitch your embellishment before you make the full pocket. Just after closing this, one must go ahead and stitch the embellishment onto this portion. Embellishments or buttons, if you want to close your pockets with buttons, then buttons, all this have to be done at this stage. So I'm going to put these two together and take it to my sewing machine and stitch it. So I stitched one more piece for you. So I started here. Now I can take off the extra thread and snip it off here, or let it be. So I started like this, went up and back again till this point. I just stitched it, and since I used 4 sheets of paper here or 2 here, it was much easier and neater job, and this pocket is so much more sturdy and strong. I can even put a little heavy stuff such as earrings, little jewelry, or goodies like toffees or chocolates inside. It can hold such things. It can hold a little weight in this, and when you fold it, all the stitch lines are going to give it a little more extra character and make it look even more beautiful. So I'm going to make all these envelopes or pockets with my old book pages, and then we'll start embellishing them. So I've stitched 4 of my pockets here like this, and for those who don't want to stitch, just glue everything wherever stitching was required. Just glue those edges, and finally I'm using a color pen to give that effect of stitching. Just some dotted lines along the portion where you think you would have stitched otherwise, so just to give it an impression of stitching. So I just added some dotted line to make it look like stitch line. Just make sure you do the same on the other side also. So once this is done, the envelopes are all ready. So here we have 5 of them. Now coming to embellishments, I told you can use lace, you can use washi tapes, you can use buttons, you can use florals, you can use different kinds of paper. So I'm going to show you how I use different papers. Now what papers? You don't need any special supply. I have this box. I also made this box. I might have, it's there in one of my useful DIY challenge when I did paperwork, decoupage. So I made this box. I store different printables, printouts that I do A4 size on A4 size paper. I use them very often in my craft works, and whatever is left behind, I keep them. They come handy every now and then. So I'm just using things, cutting out small portions from this for this project. Now I have 5 envelopes, and for 5 envelopes I decided 5 different types of embellishment. So I made this. I just took a green cardstock paper, tore it. You can see I've torn the edges to give that rough edge. Used another contrasting paper, stuck it, and found this lavender patterned heart shape. Used it. I also found a little lavender strip of paper, and I cut it like a lace. Now I'm going to use this as embellishments. on this, it would be a beautiful contrast. So I'm just embellishing the front part, and when I fold it on this edge, so either I can place it from edge to edge or inside the stitch line. So that is totally up to you where you want to add this. You can maintain the stitch line and keep it inside, or you can bring it, it looks like a lace, so you can bring it till the edge and glue it there. So when it opens at the back side, you have just the lace. You can always add some embellishment on the top, or you can just leave it like this. So this is how it is. It's easy to layer things. I never did much of junk journaling before or art journaling before, but it just comes, it's so easy. Similarly, I'll show you another thing. I found this picture printout, cut it out. I use different papers. So I'm using this for my flap to act as a lace. From the same paper, I took out another piece. These are two different kinds of packaging paper or brown paper, different color shades, just one layer after another, and then another piece here. I just made sure there is sufficient contrast, yet so they are in harmony with each other. It's not too popping out. So they're in the same color scheme, but there is difference in colors, there's difference in patterns. So there's no monotonous, it's not monotonous. You can, if you want it like little harmonious, you can have very little shade difference. I also highlighted a few things, like here I highlighted the bottle a bit because I wanted to stand out. So I just used a color pen to outline the border. So that's totally optional. You can highlight or you can just let it merge with each other. So this is going to be another one. So for the third one, I found this check piece of paper. It was from a gift bag. Then I found this music books printout in form of a stamp. I even highlighted it further using some color pen. Again, I stuck it over a cardboard paper or packaging paper. You can use it because this also forms a good contrast against the old book page color. So it will look nice this way. And then I found this one. Another beautiful floral thing, so it can just go alone, or I can add a little gingham check in the bottom to give it a little border, and then on the top another broader piece of gingham check, and I think this will also be a pretty back one. Now if you're wondering, if you're a little scared of layering things, so I'm going to show you how I do it. So I just place my envelope here so that I have an idea of the space that is going to take. So I'm going to take this thing that I decided to make it a lace and glue it on top here, trim off anything that is extra. So I'm just going to use glue stick for the whole thing. Just, it's easy, it's nothing very difficult. You don't have to you don't have to think of somebody's approval for this. Just go ahead with what you feel like. Isn't the contrast so beautiful once done? So then I took this paper, I tore it from the top layer of a cardboard, so I got this darker hue cardstock paper, and I'm just going to place things little. This was another cardstock paper. I cut it in this shape and I punched a hole to make it look like a tag, so I can place it like this, and on top of this slightly on the brown paper and the rest on the text paper. So all things will be glued using a glue stick like this, and I'll have one more envelope embellished. Now I'm using some paper clips, some simple ordinary paper clips. One can use fancy ones and you can just close them. I'm just using some colored ones, so I'm using the ones that will look nice with colors. So I can use them to temporarily close my envelopes or pockets. Now if you want, You can glue them and add a stamp or even a wax seal here if you're giving it or gifting it to somebody. Then I also told that one can use buttons, so you can take the prettiest and the cutest ones or the vintage looking ones. Just make sure they are the ones with the holes like this. They are not the ones with the poking end, otherwise it will tear through the paper. So if you have the flat ones, either stitch them or you can glue them, and they will make a pretty addition to your envelopes. And if you put two together, you can tie a string to hold the envelopes together. So that's one more idea. So here I have 5 different types of old book pages, pockets or old book pages, envelopes that can be used for keeping things, for journal keeping, for diary writing, or for keeping your even bills, cash, gift it, stuff it with some gift coupons or some goodies or a little cash, and you can use them for gifting. They are beautiful for personal use as well as for keepsake. You can keep seeds inside them. There are so many possibilities of using these. So this was my today's presentation for the Vlogtember episode 2. Please come back tomorrow. Tomorrow I have a very high-end decor idea using old book pages. I hope you liked my today's DIY. If you like this, please give this video a thumbs up, share this video, share my channel link with your like-minded friends, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing and make sure to hit that notification bell and click that ringing bell notification so that you're notified each time I upload a video. Thanks so much, my friends, for your time and support and encouragement. I really appreciate your friendship. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.